Hello, good morning and good evening. Welcome to NGO CSW 68 Forum Parallel event from Taipei, Taiwan. I'm today's moderator, Pei-Wen Lee. The purpose of this forum is to share Taiwan's current status of gender equality for women with the international community. This event aims to facilitate the exchange of experiences with partners who are concerned about women's rights. And this year's event is titled MeToo Wave in Taiwan, Responses and Reflections on Policies and Services. It's organized by Soroptimist International of Taiwan region, as well as Modern Women's Foundation. It's co-organized by SI Taipei Women Tribe. The Modern Women's Foundation has been engaged in gender-based violence prevention for 30 years in Taiwan. In response to the government's actions of MeToo movement, we have proposed critical amendments to 3 administrative laws on sexual harassment. And now I would like to invite Dr. Pan Wei-Gang. She is the chairperson of the Modern Women's Foundation. We would like to invite her to say a few words for us. Dr. Pan.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Tina Wei-Gang Pan. I have been honored to serve as the board director at the Soroptimist International, and also once the president of the Soroptimist International of the American at the Federation level. I'm also the chair of the Modern Women Foundation. I'm very happy to participate in today's discussion. Soroptimist International has 5 federations with around 66,000 members in 118 countries, and has been dedicated to gender violence and economic empowerment for pretty long, with a history of more than 100 years. The Modern Women Foundation also has a history of more than 30 years. We set up Taiwan First Center to help women and children. Each year, we assist thousands of victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and sexual harassment. We work with them through their difficult moment in their lives. Before we begin, I wanted to introduce everyone to our guest of honor today. Let's welcome Cai Linglan, the founding governor of the Soroptimist International of Taiwan region. She is the first leader in Taiwan who serves as the board director at the Soroptimist International of the American, the SIA. Next, Chen Jingyun is currently the director of the SIA. And then our past governor, Fu Meizhi, and Xu Xinhuang, Teresa Xu, also once the SIA board of directors. Additionally, Cai Meihong is the incoming SIA board director, who will take over the role this September. Welcome the incoming governor, Wang Yixuan, and the chief supervisor, Zhuo Shiwen, and the secretary general, Lai Mengxuan, and the CEO of the Modern Women Foundation, Qiu Shuhua. Thank you for you all your participation. In May 2023, the MeToo wave swept across many industries of Taiwan. Politics, art, film and television, media, academia, and campuses and sports. The survivors no longer tolerated and stepped out to speak to the public, allowing society to know the prevalence and severity of sexual harassment as voice in women's daily life. Modern Woman Foundation has long been dedicated to improving the women's rights. We not only actively participated in advocating for legal amendments, but also collaborated with the Taipei City government on the sexual harassment prevention service hotline last year. With the expertise of our social workers, we can provide service to help people filing sexual harassment and sexual assault complaints, psychologically consultation, legal counseling and trauma recovery, and so on. So those who seeking help could find their way out. To end gender-based violence and overturn social myths to make everyone free from fear has always been our vision and goal. We invite you to work with us to build a friendly environment of equality, safety, dignity, and create a gender-justice society. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pan. And next, I would like to introduce to you the Governor Ji Li Qiong. Dr. Ji is from Seraptimus to International Engagements in Taiwan. Governor Ji, please.
Okay. 大家好，我是国际男性交流协会中华民国总会现任总监纪黎琼。今年很高兴可以我们男性国际理事潘维刚主席一起主办这具有意义的活动。
Hello everyone, this is Ji Li Chong. I'm currently a governor of Seraptimus International of Taiwan region. It's my pleasure to co-organize this profound online event with Tina Weigang Pan, our former board director at International.
诚如刚才潘主席介绍的，国际男性已经100多年的历史。我们成立宗旨就是女人帮助女人，妇女可以透过教育、学习的机会，获得经济赋权，实现自己的梦想。
As Tina mentioned earlier, Seraptimus International has a history of over 100 years. Our mission is best for women, and through getting access to education to achieve economic empowerment for women to realize their dreams.
男性在台湾已经有30多年历史，感谢我们的蔡林良创会总监当年的辛勤与付出，耕耘这片福田，让大家得以相聚在一起，共同为妇女权利努力。感谢我们蔡创会总监。
Seraptimus has been rooted in Taiwan for more than 30 years. We are so grateful for all the efforts and hard work our founding governor Cai Ling-lan has dedicated to cultivating this blessed field so that we could work together to fight for women's rights.
男生一直与世界同步的进行，除了我们广为人知的帮助妇女与女孩实现你的梦想活动，也就是实现你的梦想奖、妇女教育训练奖、梦想她实现她青年资源、女青年资源，还有预计将帮助50万名 妇女的大目标，加速专案计划。
To empower women and girls worldwide and keep up to date with the times, Seratimus has championed its renowned dream programs, including the Live Your Dream Award Education and Training for Women, Dream Big Career Support, and also the Big Goals Accelerating Program, investing in the dreams of 500,000 women and girls.
实现你的梦想奖自创立以来，每年帮助过全世界2200多单亲、失婚或弱势家庭翻转人生。这个数字也算不高，但每一个数字背后都是一个妇女撑起的一个家庭。透过已经颁发的300万美元，我们改变孩子的人生，也能追寻自己的梦想。
Each year, the Live Your Dream Award helps more than 2,000 women change their lives, and about $3 million in cash awards dispersed, many of whom are single parents, divorced, or from disadvantaged families. What we can do seems to be little. However, each digit behind is a family supported by a woman. The award makes a big difference to their families and enables them to continue pursuing their dreams.
梦想它，实现它。女青年事业支援活动才成立10年，已经帮助将近2万名女青年找到人生目标，确认努力的方向。今年台湾专区全省都有办理职业讲座，总共有13场活动，预计有2000名女青年可以受惠。
The Dream It Big program has helped over 20,000 teenage girls set their career goals and find their future ambitions in the past 10 years. This year, clubs in Taiwan have mobilized to organize career lectures in schools. There are a total of 13 lectures held, and about 2,000 teenage girls were benefited by the program.
蓝心爱让梦想起飞，开办至今也已经帮助许多无法负担学费的女大生顺利完成毕业。教育是最强而有力的武器，因为它可以改变你的思想，而思想主导你的行为。
Seratimus Taiwan's scholarship for national college girls has benefited many students to complete their academic studies. Education is the most powerful instrument that plays an important role in your thinking and behavior.
我在上任的时候，也针对 MeToo 事件发动1125国际终止妇女受暴日全省连线，透过这样的倡议活动，我们也希望引起更多人对女性在社会上每一个阶层可能面临压迫的关注。
When I took office in response to the MeToo movement, I launched a nationwide campaign on 25th November, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls, to call on the public to pay attention to all forms of oppressions that women face in the society.
我也借这个机会感谢一下国际男性每一位在座的前总监、我们的团队伙伴，还有我们这次共同活动现代妇女基金所有的同仁，给我这个机会，在联合国妇女地位委员会的非政府组织周边论坛，想分享我们的努力，也谢谢每一位关心妇女权益参加线上论坛的你们，谢谢你们。
I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to all the governors and my team who participated today, and also all the staff from the Modern Women's Foundation for allowing me to share our concerted efforts on today's parallel event of UN's Commission on the Status of Women, that is CSW. Thank you to all of you who cares about women's rights and join our online event today. Thank you.
剩下的时间就留给我们今天专业的讲者。谢谢大家，谢谢。
Now I would like to hand over to our speakers today. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Chi.
可以了吗？
Thank you, Governor Chi, for your leadership and the efforts made by Seratimus International of Taiwan region. And now let's move on to our panel presentation. Today we will have 3 presenters. First, I would like to introduce to you to our first speaker, Ms. Zhu Yichen. Ms. Zhu is the Executive Secretary of the Office for Gender Equality at Taipei City Government. And today, Ms. Zhu is going to speak about the topic, facing the MeToo storm in Taiwan in 2023, the new actions taken by the Taipei city government.
Okay. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for being here. I'm Ellie Chu from the Office for Gender Equality in Taipei City. Let me introduce this office a little bit. In order to promote gender equality and advance women's rights, the Taipei City government established this office 10 years ago, which is the first gender policy unit set up by a local government. I'm honored to have this chance to represent the Taipei City government to share what we have learned these days. And okay, let's start with this chart, and we can see the current situation from this. The number of sexual harassment cases are increasing in the past 4 years, and there are almost 30% increase in grievances cases. So we can find out that maybe that the citizens' awareness of sexual harassment is increasing at the same time. So the MeToo movement in Taiwan came a little later, and we have all went through a great deal of pain last year as the sexual harassment incidents came to light. And we have to thank to the victims who came over and spoke out about what they have experienced. We were able to address the fact that the victims didn't know how to get help and even suffered a second harm in the process. So we have tried some efforts. The government agencies are the first line of the gatekeepers and should hold themselves to high standards to build a professional and trustworthy system and emphasize the protection of victims. And during the MeToo movement, we collected frontline experiences and launched some new actions. First, we have tried to reform the investigation process and standardize the composition of the grievance committee. At least 2/3 members have to be the external experts and scholars. This rule avoids the possibility of unfairness if the majority of the committee members are the members of the agency itself. Then we have tried to rebuild the concept of sexual harassment prevention from the head of the government then to the employees. We've added more courses hours for sexual harassment prevention and gender equality, and focused on the practical cases studies. The supervisors are not only required to take the class, they also have to become the SIG lecturers on these issues. And we also concerned about the follow-up of the perpetrators and the victims. We have developed a mechanism for tracking and monitoring the perpetrators. Except to punish by the personnel assessment, perpetrators must receive gender equality education and counseling to avoid further harassment. We also noticed the importance of being trauma-informed. Victim trauma recovery counseling is available within the City Hall. It's free, and if you need this counseling, you can take official leave. And as we know, the revised Sexual Harassment Prevention Act was announced on August last year, and the new law increased victim protection, emphasized the power abuse, sexual harassment, and the duty of the venue owner. The new law also stipulates the government should provide necessary support and service to victims during the investigation. Before the amendment was announced, we have already worked with Modern Woman Foundation and to set up a hotline, which is MeToo Sexual Harassment Consultation Hotline. The hotline is answered by social workers and covers legal problems related to sexual harassment in workplace, on the campus, and other places. It also provides follow-up professional services, such as psychological counseling and accompaniment in the court. From July to December 2023, we have a total of 235 consultation calls were received. Then for the further research of the prevention, we have set up a cross-sectoral social safety network. Those who have violated the Sexual Harassment Prevention Act twice or more will be reported to the Social Safety Network meeting and turned into a case for discussion. We have made 47 briefings in the past 6 months. In addition to discussion countermeasures through the network, we also invite various professionals to join the plan. For example, we invite doctors for evaluations and cooperating with the police to conduct compulsory medical treatments. And of course, we have the professional social workers take care for the cases. We try to do all things we can do in this network. After talking about all the ideals, we have to talk about the challenges. The new law have focused on the responsibility of venue owners. The new law had a lot of things to do, so we can see this specifying the remedial measures after sexual harassment and the regular duties of prevent. Once sexual harassment occurs, venue owners have a lot of things to do, such as first call the police, and they have to assist with complaints and preservation of the evidence. Then they must to protect the protection of victims' safety and privacy. And they have to review the safety of the space, like the lighting, if they have any blind areas, surveillance device, are they still working? And besides this, we have some duties in the daily lives, such as they have to train and to prevention the sexual harassment and setting up a hotline or a mailbox to receive these grievances. And they have to post signs or posters to prohibit the sexual harassment. And if the organization have more than 30 people, they have to establish sexual harassment prevention measures and policies. That is hard to do. And we know we have checked a total of 1,560 companies and organizations last year to make sure that they have done their duties. We can see there's a lot. Religious groups, tourism and hotels, tutoring, beverage, social welfare institutions are included. There's a lot of business and organizations we have checked. And we have know that if the venue owners who violates the statutory responsibility will be fined 20,000 to 200,000 NT dollars. Now we know what the law obligates us to do, but more importantly, how do we encourage venue owners to foster a culture of openness and accountability, where individuals feel safe coming forward with their concerns without fear of retaliation? And this become our second challenge. Enhancing the responsibility of venue owners is on the way. But the true challenge behind it is how to build public awareness of prevention. We really need allies. So to address this issue effectively, we must prioritize prevention. This begins with education and awareness by providing training, recognizing prevention, and reporting harassment. Once we empower individuals to be proactive bystanders and allies. Knowledge is the power, and it equips us to challenge harmful behaviors and support those who are targeted. The Taipei City government took the lead in inviting companies to respond and actively participate in Women's Day event this year. Our mayor made a pledge to create a safe Taipei and called on the public to join in prevention in our daily lives. Okay. Harassment comes many forms. Regardless of its manifestation, the impact can be profound, leaving scars that are both emotional and psychological. It undermines individuals' sense of safety and well-being, hindering their ability to thrive and contribute fully. Prevention goes beyond just policy and procedures. It's about fostering a culture of respect. Embracing diversity and celebrating differences are not only enrich our communities, but also deterrent against harassment. When we value and respect each other's unique perspective and identities, we create an environment where harassment has no way to go. In conclusion, harassment prevention requires a collective effort. It requires each of us to take responsibility for our actions and hold others accountable for theirs. By standing together against harassment, we can create communities that are safe, supportive, and inclusion for all. Through the public and the private partnership, we made a new standard for sexual harassment prevention, which is to respect and dare to refuse. So let's commit ourselves to build a culture of respect, one where every individual feels valued, heard, and respected. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zhu. I really like the slogan in the end, to respect and dare to refuse. This is a very informative sharing, and especially the actions done by the city government. Great. And next, I would like to introduce Dr. Wu Weiting, Director of the Gender Studies Institute at Shixing University. And Dr. Wu is going to speak about reflections on the Taiwan MeToo movement. Dr. Wu.
Hello, everyone. This is Weiting Wu. I'm the director of Graduate Institute for the Gender Studies at Shixing University in Taiwan. Today, I'm going to talk about some reflections on the Taiwan's MeToo movement in 2023. And here is my brief bio. I got my PhD from Political Science Department at City University of New York. And I have participated in women's movement and the gender movement in Taiwan since I was a college student. And first of all, I want to talk about women's rights movement and the policy and the democratization in Taiwan. And based on my observations, I think there are both stages of advocacy goals of our women's rights movement. In the first stage, women's groups fight against the society, the system, the patriarchy system, and to make women to live like a human being. Like women should have the right to receive education. Women should have the right to go out to work. And of course, women should have a right to vote. And in the second stage, women's groups tries to gain the citizenship for women. And what kind of citizenship? Like women should enjoy the welfare protection from the government, and women should enjoy any rights of citizen as a citizen. In the third stage, women's groups fight against the system to make women to become independent and to pursue their own dreams and goals, especially how to make them to enjoy the self-realization. And in the final stage, and of course, we're still working on it, the women's groups try to break through the structural framework of society, culture, politics, and the economy. Based on these four stages, I will say no stage are ended right now. It's ended right now, and we all still working on to promote gender equality in Taiwan. Women's groups has made a lot of progresses on gender equality in Taiwan. As you can see from my PowerPoint, on the left-hand side, women's groups revise our civil code, because in the past, once women got married, they need to take the husband's surname and they need to live with the husband, and they don't enjoy the property right or guardianship. Because of the effort of women's groups, we revise these unfair laws. And in the second stage, women's groups work on laws to provide personal safety for women, including issues like sexual assault, human trafficking, stalking, and the distribution of sexual privacy images. Also, I must emphasize that Taiwan is the first country in Asia to pass the Domestic Violence Prevention Act. Later, we passed the Gender Equality in Employment Act in the year 2002, and then Gender Equity Education Act in the year 2004. And finally, I'm very proud of our progress that Taiwan is the first country in Asia to pass the marriage equality law. And after discuss the development of our women's rights movement, I also want to give you the ideas of our frameworks of gender policies. So we have 3 frameworks. First of all, the gender policy guidelines by the Executive Yuan. And also we promote gender mainstreaming, and we passed the CEDAW Convention in the year 2007. Even though, as you know, Taiwan has left the UN system for so many years, we still try to catch up. We still try to have the same standard as our international community. And I didn't bring the statistics here this time, but our no matter the different international standard like GII or GGI, Taiwan always ranked the number 1 in Asia. Okay, so right now I'm going to focus on the MeToo movement in Taiwan. Not like other countries, we didn't see our MeToo movement when MeToo movement emerged globally in the year 2017. We only witnessed the MeToo movement in Taiwan until May 31st in the year 2023, when female, she spoke out on the social media regarding her formal complaint to the ruling party, the DPP, and the DPP, her supervisor, dismissed and covered up her complaint. So she wrote about her stories when she was about the sexual harassment experience when she was staff in the ruling party, and then we have witnessed more than 1,500 cases, more than 1,500 victims of sexual harassment speak out on the social media. But I will say it's make people very, I mean, the MeToo movement make people shocked and make people amazed. But at the same time, it also make people very sad, because I will say if the court or our system is ready, the victims no longer need to stand in front of the court of public opinion. If our system can catch our victims, they don't need to speak out in front of everyone and let everyone to become the judges of their own victims' memories. And I want to talk about some significance of Taiwan's MeToo movement. I think until now, most cases still focus on verbal sexual harassment and unwanted sexual attentions. Few cases involving various degrees of sexual assault, and this is quite different from the situation in Hollywood in the United States. And also, we have not really reviewed our gender culture. So power-based sexual harassment with discrimination appears every day in the daily life of girls and women, which makes sexual assault to be regarded as nothing serious in our culture, and even gradually become a reasonable gender stereotype. So in Taiwan, when men behaving progressive towards women, it is considered as normal, which is to whitewash, downplay, and even beautify men's sexual harassment and sexual solicitation to women. Furthermore, I think sexual education cannot just focus on protection only. Right now, the focus has always been on teaching minors and women to protect themselves, how to identify perpetrators, and how to say no to unwanted sexual interactions. However, if we only focus on protection, we will lead to the culture of sexual shame, and it is difficult to be a decent human being as long as sex is involved. I mean, the current culture will make people think whenever we are talking about the pleasure feeling or the experience of being preyed upon, we will feel a little bit shameful about our statement. So sex is often associated with a huge risk, a scary thing, a source of harm, and is therefore associated with fear, pain, and darkness. If we don't revise this kind of gender culture, we will ignore the heterogeneity and the diversity of sex. A single sexual standard will suppress the space for sexual expression and practice, and may even cause harm. Emphasizing victimization experiences may overlook structural issues, and we will make victims, to emphasize our social culture still emphasize collectivities and harmony, because it's too shame and it's only victimization. If we accuse someone, we probably will harm our harmony, so it will silence victims. And I think there are four more reflections we need to think about, and we need to work on it. Until now, we only heard voices from Han Chinese, so we didn't hear stories from our immigrant spouses. We didn't hear stories from indigenous people or household workers. And I believe there are sexual harassments in this population, but we haven't heard about their stories. Why? because the MeToo movement depends on ability to use social platform, and it depends on their cultural capital, because they need to write their stories, and it depends on their language skills, their writing skills. They need to make themselves to be understood. So it is very difficult to some marginalized group to speak out for themselves, and if under these conditions, they cannot fight for their own justice, especially if the system is not ready. Furthermore, we haven't seen stories from fields where stratification is more rigid. So, but because of the MeToo movement, our Congress also revised the 3 laws of the 3 laws against sexual harassment quite very soon on August 2023. So right now, in the past, we already have 3 legislative 3 laws against sexual harassment, and our congressman revised the law because of the MeToo movement. We want to catch as more victims as possible. So first law is Gender Equality in Employment Act, and the purpose is to secure the right to work for the victims of sexual harassment. And the second law is Gender Equity Education Act, and the purpose is to secure the right to education. And the final law is Sexual Harassment Prevention Act, and the purpose is to protect the rights and the interests of victims. And I just want to show you, give you some brief idea about the definition of sexual harassment of these 3 laws, and how Taiwan views the definition of sexual harassment. So according to Gender Equality in Employment Act, sexual harassment means that in the course of an employee executing his or her duties, anyone makes a sexual request, use verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature, or with an intent of gender discrimination, causes him or her a hostile, intermediate, and offensive working environment, leading to infringe or interfere with his or her personal dignity, physical liberty, or affect his or her job performance. So this is the first definition, and I want to emphasize on the term gender discrimination. So the gender discrimination also is also viewed as sexual harassment. And the second definition is that an employer makes a sexual request toward an employee or an applicant, uses verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature, or with an intent of gender discrimination as an exchange for the establishment, continuance, modification of a labor contract, or as a condition to his or her placement, assignment, compensation, evaluation, promotion, demotion, award, or discipline. So as you can see, the first definition emphasizes on the feelings of the victims, and the second definition emphasizes on exchange. You cannot exchange the work rights to sexual behavior. And then as you can see from the Gender Equality Education Act, the definition is similar. And then finally, the definition from the Sexual Harassment Prevention Act, and you can see from my PowerPoint the definition. The definitions are all similar. So we think we place the feelings of our victims in as a most important and the first priority, and then the judges should judge if the actions of offendant involve sex or gender-based behavior. Okay, So I think my times are up, and thanks for your attention today.
Thank you, Dr. Wu. Thank you for her insightful observations on MeToo breakout in Taiwan in terms of how these experiences are told or revealed by the victims from on social media. And now we'd like to turn to our last presenter, the last but not least, Ms. Zhang Miaoru. Ms. Zhang is our very own social work supervisor, and she's in charge of sexual violence intervention unit from Modern Women's Foundation. And today she is going to talk about prevention and response services for sexual harassment in Taiwan post-MeToo movement in 2023.
Hello, everyone. I'm Miaoru Zhang, working at the Modern Women's Foundation as a social work supervisor. Modern Women's Foundation was established in 1987, dedicated to the prevention and services of sexual assault, domestic violence, and sexual harassment. Under the leadership of the chairperson, 3 important laws on women's personal safety were established in Taiwan, which including the Sexual Assault Crime Prevention Act, passed in 1996, the Domestic Violence Prevention Act, passed in 1998, and the Sexual Harassment Prevention Act, passed in 2005, allowing the helpless victims who previously had no resource turn to light and receive assistance in many ways from government. In Taiwan, if you encounter a sexual harassment incident, there are 3 administrative laws that you can file a complaint. Those laws are in the following legislated order. First one is the Gender Equality in Employment Act, passed in 2002, which is under the responsibility of the Ministry of Labor, aims to protect the rights of workers. If individuals encounter sexual harassment or assault during job seeking or employment, they can file a complaint with their employer. Then comes the Gender Equality Education Act, passed in 2004, is overseen by the Ministry of Education, with the goal of safeguarding students' rights in the duration of education. If students experience sexual harassment, sexual assault, or sexual bullying from teachers, staff, or other students, they can file a complaint with the school of the perpetrator. Finally, the Sexual Harassment Prevention Act, passed in 2005, is managed by the Department of Social Affairs, aiming to protect personal safety. Those who are not covered by the aforementioned 2 laws can file complaints against the perpetrator's affiliated unit in accordance with this law. However, in practice, there are some obstacles that prevent victims from seeking for help due to following reasons. First, the ridicule in public's voice. Second, the victims feel guilty and ashamed. Third, those who know remain silent. Fourth, the perpetrator continues to threaten and spread false information. In addition, Even if the victims file a complaint, it may still result in second harm to the victims due to the investigators' lack of professional knowledge on sexual harassment and gender sensitivity. According to statistics from the Ministry of Health and Welfare in the past 5 years, the number of sexual harassment cases has increased from about 1,000 cases in 2018 to over 2,000 cases in 2022, which is 2.5 times in 2 years. And these figures do not include undisclosed cases. In May 2023, Taiwan's original series Webmakers brought out the issue of sexual harassment. Due to widely reported and discussed via media networks and social networks, this led to awareness of sexual harassment, and some brave people even publicized their experience of sexual harassment. This truly igniting meeting wave movement in Taiwan. Before Modern Women's Foundation, there are already counseling services available for victims of sexual harassment, as well as corporate prevention seminars and education training. The number of monthly consultations has doubled after MeToo movement, and requiring harassment training for organizations, the number has increased by 2.8 times. We are rethinking cooperations with government departments and developing corporate solutions. I will talk about the Sexual Harassment Prevention Hotline project. We collaborated with the Taipei City government, as well as the program of Gender Friendly at Workplace. Not next. Yeah. The reason to initiate the Sexual Harassment Prevention Hotline was the MeToo wave happened in June 2023. And we started to cooperate with the Taipei City government on July 31st, 2023. The major significant points of the project include: first, set up a hotline during office hours on weekdays, and the social workers provide consultations of laws against sexual harassment and related information, such as available support channels, a step-by-step guide the cases, and mental and physical care, enabling the public to access basic information and resources. Second, provide free legal consultation. Through the hotline, if individual needs further advice from the lawyer, legal consultations will be arranged by lawyers who are experienced in handling sexual harassment cases, and this process will be occupied by social workers. Third, case management service. For the victims of sexual harassment who require assistance due to their physical and mental conditions, will receive case management services in order to help them face administrative complaints, criminal and civil lawsuits related to sexual harassment, with a focus on stabilizing their mental and physical health for recovery. Here is some statistics about the implementation results of this hotline from August to December. First, 235 hotline calls, and the result is 1.4 times more. Second, 48 legal consultations, and the result is 2.4 times more. Third, 22 client case management, and the result is 2.2 times more. Among the hotline cancellations, application of laws and appeal procedures is 36.5%. Use of resources is 21.9%. Inaction or inappropriate behavior is 16.1%. Therefore, from the public side, we also found that how companies should prevent and deal with sexual harassment incidents in the workplace is also an important issue. As mentioned earlier, after the MeToo wave began, the number of invitations from companies increased by 2.8 times. Many of these companies were taking relevant courses for the first time, and many are aware that the internal structure and environment of the company could easily lead to sexual harassment. For example, in some industries, when the proportion of male employees is far too dominant, it's more likely that pornography taking place, and managers are less sensitive on gender awareness. Therefore, since we have expertise on prevention and control of sexual harassment, we then developed 3 types of courses. First, online sexual harassment prevention course. Cooperate with online course platforms to provide basic knowledge on sexual harassment prevention for corporate employees. The content includes basic concepts for gender equality, forms of prevention of sexual harassment, relevant laws and resources. Second, customized face-to-face training for enterprises with specific needs, such as industries that require more contact with service recipients and external units like banking, household service, which are industries with a higher chance of sexual harassment. Customized training courses will be developed to create a safe environment in the company is very dependent on the supervisor's attitude and knowledge in dealing with sexual harassment. So this part of training is also included. Third, investigator training in order to improve the quality of sexual harassment administrative investigations is also expected to reduce second harm to victims. We provide training courses for sexual harassment investigators, including gender equality, legal understanding, investigation knowledge, case study, report writing, etc. All above are developed on the original basis that we have further integrated as a project plan. It will be implemented in 2024. Taking advantage of this MeToo wave, we hope to push forward the prevention of sexual harassment in workplace, and we really do make effort to make a difference. Okay, thank you for your listening.
Thank you, Ms. Zhang, for her very informative sharing on the significant projects done by the Modern Women's Foundation. And now we'd like to take a short break for about 5 minutes. And during these 5 minutes, we would like to invite you to leave us some questions on the discussion board. And we'll be back in 5 minutes to see what questions you asked. Thank you. Hello, we are back, and I've collected several questions from the audience here, and I would like to introduce again, joining us, it's Miss Zhu from the Taipei City government and Miss Zhang from our very own Modern Women's Foundation. And unfortunately, Dr. Wu, she has a previous engagement and she has to run, so she's now on I guess subway or somewhere. But the questions I have here, the first two are for Dr. Wu. So let me read the question and see if Dr. Wu can answer these questions. The first question is, are there any differences between the East and the West countries in terms of the factors that shape the culture of sexual harassment? Dr. Wu?
Okay. Thank you very much for your question. I think regarding this question, I will say there are similarities between East and the Western cultures, and also there are differences comparing these two cultures. For the similarity, I will say patriarchy system is the most significant one. So we all suffered from the patriarchal system. And I will say patriarchy system emphasize not just only to women, but also to men. The system make men to participate in the gender-based or sex-based sexual harassment because they were afraid that if they don't participate in the same game, their colleagues or their friends will laugh at them, will say, why don't you join our game to tease women? If you behave like this, you don't look like a man. So you don't look like a man will become a scary or some threatens to men to force them to join this kind of games. And for the difference, I will say, the Eastern cultures still like what I share in my PowerPoint. I think the Eastern culture or Han culture will emphasize harmony. We don't comparing to Western culture, they are more emphasized on individualism. Our culture emphasize more on social harmony, and we want to have a peaceful, and we want to take care of everyone, and especially women. Women tend to maintain the harmony for the group. So this kind of culture will prevent women to speak out for themselves. Okay.
So the intercultural factors really make a difference in terms of sexual harassment issue. And the second question is also for Dr. Wu, and our audience member would like to ask, do you think that state laws can have a way to combat the culture of sexual harassment? Dr. Wu?
Okay. Of course, I think state laws have a way to combat the culture of sexual harassment. First of all, CEDAW Convention, Article 5, asks the state to combat any, discriminated culture. So there are plenty of ways for state to do. For example, we can have a better education system to discuss sexual education, to provide better sex education, and to discuss better, to have better emotional education, to make students to reflect on their experience of sexual harassment. or unpleasant, love stories, or even how to pursue a girl or a man, a boy if they are trying to have a intimate relationship. I think, and of course, when we talk about systems, there are plenty of way for state to think about, gender culture in different systems, gender culture in army, gender culture in the in the company, gender culture in entrepreneurship. So there are many ways to build up a system for victims to speak out and to fight against the culture.
Thank you. And the next question is for Miss Zhu. Miss Zhu is right here. And this question is, if someone encounters sexual harassment, what channels or places she or he can go to file a complaint, especially when the victim is hesitant to come forward?
Wow. Okay. First, don't be hesitant. Go to the police, please. Our police officers have already very well trained, and they can figure out what kind of case this is. For example, in the workplace or on the campus or other types of cases. And because this is a little complicated in our law system, and let me check what the laws is, because it's really complicated. So
Yes.
If it related a crime, the police will assist them to file a criminal complaint of sexual harassment and transferring these to the district court. And the prosecutors will take the investigation for the lessons. And if the harassment was occurred in the campus, such as the one party is the student or the teachers or the workers in the school, the investigation will take place in the school. And if the harassment incident in the workplace, they will transfer the perpetrator's company for investigation. And if not these types of the cases, the police will take investigation directly. So just go to the police and they will figure out what procedures and what is the corresponding laws. And if you feel hesitant, maybe you can try another way. That is the hotline we have mentioned just before. If you have any questions about sexual harassment, you can dial the number, which is 239111067. The professional social workers will help you to figure out what you can do.
Yes.
And make sure you are safe, and they will always protect your privacy, of course. So tried it. No, never tried it.
Never tried it, but if you need the service, yes, please go ahead. And personally, I'm more familiar with the situation happened on campus, because in school we have Gender Equality Commission, and I'm part of that commission too. So I think all the procedures are well established. And nowadays, students in Taiwan, they are, really aware of such issues. And usually, if they encounter such situation, nowadays they would feeling more comfortable to come forward and contact the Gender Equality Commission in school. Okay, and the fourth question, the next question is for Ms. Zhang. Ms. Zhang. Okay, so the question is about here. Is the hotline consultation only provided for the victim? What about the perpetrator? Is there any service provided for them as well?
Okay. overall plan is cooperate with the Social Affairs Bureau of the Taipei City Government. So there's many for people who actually live, work, or register residents in Taipei City where the crime occurs. For this hotline consultation, as long as a person is involved inside, can call this hotline. No matter this person is the victim, perpetrator, family members, or friends. In the hotline consultation, the concept of knowledge of sexual harassment prevention and treatment and dispelling myths will be conveyed to them so that people learn how fast it when they encounter the incident and the behaviors of sexual harassment.
Okay, I think this is very important because not only the victims, but also the perpetrators, sometimes they really need our help. And if we have this, consultation to help them, I think that's very significant and very helpful. Now, the next question is again back to Ms. Zhu. The question is, according to the newly revised sexual harassment prevention law, what is required for any organization or institution in response to a reported sexual harassment case?
Yeah, we have just mentioned that the new revised law have emphasized the responsibility for the venue owners. And they have to do a lot of things when they have to make sure if the sexual harassment occurred, they have to first call the police, of course, and have to assist the victims to protect he or she their safety and privacy. And we also mentioned that both prevention and assistance after the incident are important. And I have to mention one thing that Dr. Wu just has noticed, that never settle the matters or ask both parties to coordinate on their own. That is not harmony, especially we cannot try to criticize the victim. That is the important thing during the procedure. And another detail would be that in the new law, if the perpetrators belongs to a specific institution like the government agency or military or school, the government agency still has responsibility to carry out the investigation, and the investigation report and recommendation have to send to the local government. They will hold the sexual harassment committee. So it's still a complicated process. So we have already make more education for the servant and to the government and to the police. So if you have any problem with it, you can try to call the hotline or go to the police. They will find out how to help and how to deal with it. And of course, the venue owners, we still trying to encourage them to do their responsibility and make sure the environment is safe for all.
Yes, friendly and safe for all. Thank you, Ms. Zhu. I think after MeToo movement in Taiwan, what's really different now is that not only the government or institutions, but also like you said, the private venues, private companies nowadays, people learn, they have to pay attention and really look into how to deal with such cases, sexual harassment cases. I mean, in the past, they are probably, they don't know, they have no ideas what are the procedures they have to go through if their, let's say, their employees come to them and file a complaint about sexual harassment. But I think it's good now that not just government, but also institutions, companies, now they are aware that they have to be responsible for it. Okay, so the next question is for Ms. Zhang. Ms. Zhang, okay, so this is regarding the talk that you just gave to us. So it was mentioned in the talk that the number of speeches invited by corporate companies in Taiwan has increased by 2.8 times since MeToo movement. So this, the question is that, from the audience member, I don't know if it's a he or she, this person would like to ask whether it is because of the changes in the law or because those companies now believe that sexual harassment prevention is urgent and important.
Okay, good question. Yes, it might be the companies need to provide sexual harassment prevention training exercise to all its employees. Just for to comply with laws. Okay. However, when a company invite us to give a training exercise, we will ask them the reasons to doing so. From this, we can distinguish. Lately, company is simply want to do this to meet the minimum requirement, or let the company realize the importance of the issue. As mentioned before, after MeToo movement, some companies had become awareness of internal gender structure or lower gender sensitivity of senior managers. It's totally different story from the past. Okay. In the past, most companies are willing to face the problem only when the sexual harassment incident happened. So I think the reasons for the increase in invitations is that, in addition to law and regulations, the issue of sexual harassment prevention has indeed began to be taken serious by companies.
That's good to know.
Okay.
They have to do so now.
Yeah. No matter what the reasons behind, but it's taken seriously. I think that's a good news. Okay, so I don't know. I guess we are running out of time now, and it's now almost lunchtime in Taipei. I don't know where you are around the world. It's probably mid-time on your side, but thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Ms. Zhang and Ms. Zhu, for giving us those very informative and very precious information that we can take away. So I would like to thank you for being here with us, and we have to come to an end now, and hopefully we will see you again next week. Thank you.